Hey guys, here we are Monday again, and smoking a cigar, drinking coffee. I'm doing everything I'm not supposed to do. But I have some questions that you guys sent
Super chats last
super
week.
chat, and I'm going to answer them now first before I actually get started. And if I might make it a little bit longer just so I can get everybody in, as many as I can anyway. Wait up, my phone is buzzing and ringing. Hello? Ma, I'm doing a live. All right, I'll be home in a little while. Bye-bye. So, my mom passed away a long time ago. It's not her. All right, God, ask away.
Okay, Sammy. So the first one you have is from Sammy the Bunny. Sammy, do you know or have any stories about Tommy the Monk Sassano?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Let's see. Brooklyn Chris asks, Sammy, if Gotti Jr. would like to have a sit down with you, like you did with Michael, would you be up to it? And have you seen him since you cooperated with the government?
I don't think it would be a good interview. I think we would argue a little bit. I don't think it would be a very good interview. I don't dislike him. I would, and I don't want to sit down and just for an argument, for people to see an argument. And no, I've never seen him since I cooperated. It would have to, one time, Patrick from Value Entertainment told me about he would pay me a lot of money to sit down with him. Now, if they paid me a lot of money to sit down with him, yes, I would sit down with him. So, but just to sit down and argue, and I don't really, he's his son. I have nothing against him. He's probably got some bullshit against me because of the dad and whatever. I knew him personally. I actually made him. I headed the ceremony that made him. And then when he became a captain, I was the guy who walked over to him with Frankie Lacasio and made him a captain. So we do have some history together. I don't think he's a bad kid. I never did. I only said that I don't think he belonged in the life. He went to military school. His father decided to make him. When he asked for my advice, I said, bro, why you want to do that, bro? They'll put a target on his back, which they did. He was better off going to military school, military career, or educated type of guy. I don't think he was good for the life. But, and I think he said that himself. So that's my answer.
Awesome. Thank you, Sammy. Okay, El Gato says, any Calabrese or Ndrangheta families in the USA?
The Ndrangheta families, they're more in Italy. I'm not sure if they come from Sicily or what part of Italy. That's a long, long time ago. I don't know of any that are here now, or even while I was around, there was some, groups of guys from Italy. One thing is I want you guys to understand. We respect them if they were made over there, but we don't put them in our category. They're not made in the United States, and they don't live up to our rules. So we respect them, but they're really not part of us.
Okay. All right, couple more. So Brandon Carson says, hey Sammy, what are your thoughts on Gene Borello?
Gene Borello, I forgot what family was. He wasn't a made guy. He was a young guy. He got hung out. He cooperated eventually. Tough guy, young. He got in trouble while he was out. He was doing a show with A-Line. He hit a neighbor. He did something and got violated and went back to jail. He got out. He wrote a book. He got in touch with me, told me about the book. He wrote a really good book. I suggest that you guys read it. It's pretty good. And he's a pretty good guy. Good kid, a little hot-tempered. He's got to calm down a little bit, but I like him.
Okay, last one. Jack asks, if you stayed in the Colombo family, who would you have chosen in the Third War? The Persico faction or the Orena faction?
I would have probably been in the Persico faction because I was with them from day one. I would have probably been with them the whole time, so I probably would have been on that side.
Got it. Anna, back over to you.
Thank you, Amina. Sammy, can we give a shout out to Mad Cool? He had a great weekly envelope last week for you. Mad Cool.
Matt Cool? Shout out, Matt Cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sammy. Johnny Rocket in the super chat. Sammy, it must have been a time to be alive during the mob days.
During the mob days in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, it was a wild, wild time. It was really, the mob was changing, laws were changing, everything was changing around, and it really was. It was almost like, I guess, when you came into the United States and then they went west, it was like the Wild West. I felt that's how Bensonhurst, Brooklyn was, and really every place you went, the Bronx, Manhattan, it was like the Wild West. It was a whole bunch of tough guys, and it got growing pains. It wasn't used to the RICO law and things that were coming out. Guys were flipping like pancakes, going in the witness protection program, stuff like that. It was a real wild time. I had the time of my life. You guys know I loved the life. I respected the life. Not everybody in it, and not all the rules, but I still do have love for it, good memories. Some of the people there, my guy Tato, when I went to the Gambino family, I can't say enough good things about him, and I just heard stories about him that just made me understand him so much more. And I'm working on Table in the Back to do a story about him, and it verifies everything I've ever known about him, and it verifies things I didn't know, and now it's all come together. I love the guy.
Thank you, Sammy. Piggyback off that, Paul, Sammy, what was Tato's relationship with Frankie DeChico? Were they tight?
Yeah, they were very close. Frankie's father, Boozy, was a May guy. He was originally with Tato. He was moved later on. So Frankie was very close and knew Tato very well. We had a great relationship, so he would always come by Tato's to see me or Tato, and vice versa. We'd go to Bath Avenue to see him, and a great relationship with Tato as well. Tato was very, very well respected. And again, when I do my Table in the Back and you hear about Tato, you're going to hear about Tato in a whole different way. And we're going to hear that almost at the same time, because there's things I've just found out, FBI reports and things that they knew, and I just found out a few things that are mind-boggling.
Nice. Jay Marie with the super chat. Here's my envelope for you, boss. Did you all ever have any run-ins with the Colombian cartels in New York? And did they have to ask permission to be in New York? Thank you and take care.
They didn't have to ask permission to be in New York. We had really nothing to do with them. The Colombians were drug dealers, and they were really, really, really tough. I'm going to give you a very quick story if I can. There was a guy, a Jewish guy, and they used to call him Roy DeMayo's son. He really wasn't his son, but he was like a son to him. He robbed some Colombian guys, and he killed them when he robbed them. And it blew up in the Gambino face. Nino Gaggi is captain and this and that, and said, these Colombians are going to come down. There'll be a war over what this kid did. And Roy was given an order to appease them to kill this kid. And I can't think of his name, but he was a young Jewish kid who was with Roy. And Roy killed him. It broke Roy's heart, but it had to get done. You can't just go there, rob them, shoot them. Like, they weren't pieces of garbage. They were tough. They were going to come back. And that appeased them. Then no war, no nothing. And it really wasn't meant by the mob. It was this kid did a deal, think he could shoot them, kill them, rob them, get away with it. It didn't work.
Nice. Thank you, Sammy. Instant Karma. Did you know Big Ange? She was on your daughter's show, Mob Wives. Did you like her? Did you like Big Ange?
Yeah, I know who Big Ange is. The people are laughing now because I knew her. I was very, very friendly with her for a while, and she was on the show. She was great. She was talent, and she was really, really deep inside a good person. So, I'm not going to talk too much about her. She's passed away, and she has family, and I know the family. My daughter knows the family, but I'm going to say she really was a good person.
She's funny as hell.
Yeah, she was hilarious. I mean, if you really know the stories about her, she was hilarious. So.
Amen. Trapper27, here's my envelope for Lily. She jumps up on the couch for a kiss with her dad, but she's looking for her envelope too.
Well, Lily's laying down. I don't know if you could see her right at my feet. So she's laying down. She's taking a little snooze while we're on the air. Every time I come on the air, she comes running in here. She's looking up. She hears her name mentioned. Uh-oh. Now Lily's going to go check out what's going on, who's talking about her. So thank you very much. Lily, thanks you too. I'll get her some nice treats with whatever you gave.
Mo with an extremely generous envelope for you this week, Sammy. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you, Mo. I really appreciate it. Now, the way extremely, is this like 20, 30,000 or something like that? No,
like that.
I guess not that extreme. So, thank you, Mo. I really, really appreciate it, and it does go a long way. I do a lot of things with some of this monies that come in, and I appreciate it.
Airbos. Hi, Sammy. Your stories helped me through withdrawals. You helped save my life, brother. From Matt in the UK.
Hey, Matt in the UK, that's music to my ears. I get texts every once in a while. I talk about the drugs. I've been hit with it. There was a team member of our team who just OD'd not too long ago. I think you saw all of that or heard that. A kid named Gage. And we went to his memorial last week, me and Anna and Melissa, and it was heartbreaking. It really, really was. All his family got up one by one. There was 40, 50 people there, black, white, everybody, and gave little speeches. And then his girl put her hand out towards me, and I got up and I gave a little bit of a speech about him and how I felt about him. Melissa made a whole thing up of our, times when he was, on camera recording us and this and that and the other thing, and when he got creds for doing a picture, and we gave the family everything so that they were so happy. His mother gave me a hug and his kiss. His aunts came over. His cousins came over. I think they were a little shocked that me and my team, came to the memorial, and they loved it. They were really, really good people, very friendly. It was great. So.
We knew Gage in his 20s, but in the video that they put up, you saw him as a little boy. All his baby pictures, him growing up, 6, 7. That's what got me. He's somebody's child.
Yeah. And he's 27. Even though he wasn't really. It's not an old man. He's 27 years old. And you, pal. I hope listen to that story. This kid was robbed of 50 years, 60 years of life with these fucking drugs. So if you're staying straight, stay straight. Use these things as examples. Even if you don't die, it's going to tear you up on the inside. It'll make your life a lot shorter and miserable at the same time.
Harry L. I love your channel, Sammy. I'm 2 years clean. In the beginning, through the hospital, then rehab, I watched your channel. It got me through. Thanks, brother.
Again, I love this. I can't even talk. I start to choke up listening to these things. I get a lot of text messages from guys and girls too. But I appreciate it. And not the message so much, but that you're staying straight and you're staying clean and you got a life. Someday you're going to get married. Someday you're going to have kids. Someday, after I'm gone, you turn around and say, I think I owe this to Sammy. And all you're going to owe me is you got a good life. So.
Thank you, Sammy. Wendell in the super chat. What are your thoughts about Joey Merlino? Did you prefer him or Stan Fa? And who is your favorite Philly gangster?
You know, I was in the Philly War. There was a lot of guys, the old timers, and most of them are dead. I know who Joey Merlino is. I knew his father, Chucky Merlino. He was the underboss under Nicky Scoffo for a short time. Nicky Scoffo took him down. A little too much drinking or whatever was the problem. Joey Merlino tries to act like John Gotti, flashy, all this bullshit. If he is this, I would tell him that's not a real gangster. A real gangster is undercover. It's a secret society, brother. And so, I mean, I don't know him personally. Like I said, I knew his father and some of his uncles. I guess he's, you know, a good kid at heart. I don't hear too many bad things other than the fact that all that flashy shit. Don't imitate somebody who did the wrong thing. John Gotti, the way he dressed, the way he acted, did the wrong thing. Don't imitate that. Unless you're an actor and you're going to make a movie. You're a gangster. Act like a gangster.
Thank you, Sammy. Fun for reason. Hey, Sammy, little before your time, but do you have any good stories about John Torrio?
The name isn't ringing a bell.
Okay, we'll look into that. Joe Schmo, good afternoon, Sammy. Did you ever know Big Dom? Only see one video about him. Seems like a crazy dude. I believe he flipped. Thank you.
Now, Big Dom, I know almost 4 Big Doms, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about. If you'd like to, you know, yell it out now, or the next time we meet, just say, you know, which one it is. There's a Big Dom who's with the Banano family, who's doing videos right now. Mafia Roundtable, I think he calls it. Pretty good guy. I got to know him. I knew of him. I didn't know him personally on the street, but I knew of him. I did a little bit of time with him. He's a man's man, tough guy, but a good guy. I just did an interview with him myself, which will be on table in the back. And if it's him, he's a great guy. I knew a couple of, you know, Big Doms.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Altavaz, with a great envelope for you, Sammy. Please, some Roy DeMeo stories. Love you.
Roy DeMeo stories. I mean, he really does have a lot of stories. And believe it or not, I am working on a story about Roy DeMeo and Vinnie Mook, and it'll be coming out shortly. Vinnie Mook was one of the rampers, he actually was one of the older guys. He was from Bath Avenue. The rampers were from 79th Street, Newchik Avenue, and the guys from Bath Avenue hooked together, and we became one at one point. I had a fight with Vinnie Mook. He was like a professional fighter. We were going, 2 other guys were going to fight, and he had said, everybody get back. And I didn't listen, of course. I kept going towards the schoolyard to watch the fight. One of my guys were fighting, and he turned and he hit me a fucking shot in my right eye, opened it up. It still got a little bit of a scar from it, and me and him battled for a fucking hour. People said they never saw a fight like that in their life. It was so bad that I went to the hospital, and he went there too. We were both in the hospital. So he came over to me and he said, Sammy, great fight. So I said, yeah, it really was, but I won. And he looked at me and he said, what do you mean you won? It was a draw. We both wound up in the hospital. I said, yeah. But when I started fighting with you, you already hit me. My fucking eye was open. I was bleeding like a sieve. So you had a big edge. So just breaking even, you lost. Imagine if you didn't open up my eye like that. So he started laughing. We became friends, and he says, okay, Sarah, I'll give you one. But he was a tough bastard, and there's a video going to come out about it. And that's with Roy DeMeo. You'll hear the whole story.
Steve Sandarosa. Sammy, did Joseph Peruta ever smile?
Yes, he did. Listen, he had a very, very dry sense of humor. He was a very funny guy, with a dry sense of humor, a great sense of humor, and he was really liked by everybody. Frankie the Chico loved him. Boozy, Frankie's father, he's older than me, so he knew there's some of the older guys. I loved him, and I think everybody loved him. He told one time, he asked me, he says, Frankie and them have a robbery, and they asked me to go with them. Could I? I says, of course, go with them. Frankie the Chico came over and told me, he says, Sammy, it's okay, I use Peru to run we're going to go on a robbery. I said, yeah, what do you got to do? Well, I need a lock picker. And Peruta says he knows how to pick locks. I said, wow, I never knew that. I said, but go ahead. You got my permission, go. Because you're supposed to ask. You're not just supposed to take somebody from somebody's crew. So he went with him. They went, there was a store, and Peruta was sent over to open the lock. Peruta walked over, kicked the fucking door. The door went flying open, and he went in. So Frankie was dumbfounded. He says, I thought you were a lock picker. He said, what are you arguing about? The door's open, go rob, and give me my fucking head. That story went to everybody. Everybody loved him, laughed. It was a joke. There wasn't a joke, it was for real, but that's Peruta.
Nice. Elgato, back in the super chat. Salute, Sammy. What makes a gangster powerful? And by the way, I got your signed picture. Grazie.
Thank you. Grazie to you too. Listen, what makes him powerful? That he's got balls, he's got brains, he's fair with people, he's honorable with people. People will not love somebody like a Roy DeMeo who is just a sick killer. You have to have a little bit of that quality if you're in the mafia. You got to be a man's man about everything you do. I'm not sure if it was Paul Castellano or somebody said, well, in The Godfather, the guy, so I'll use that expression. He said, if a man don't respect his family, then he's not really a man. So there's so many aspects in our life to be a man. How you treat your wife, how you treat your kids, how you treat your family, how you treat your friends. If you're honorable, if you're a little bit of a snake, a backstabber, or sneaking money with beating your partners and lying, or that don't make a man. So if you don't have any of those bad habits and you have all good habits, that's a man's man. And if you're a tough guy about what you do in life, and a tough guy is not, anybody can be a tough guy. It's when you do something maybe nobody else would do, but you do it for the cause. I did the Johnny Keys hit. Everybody thought I was crazy. I still, sometimes when I think back, I don't know how the fuck I did it. But I did it knowing I could be killed, but I did it anyway for the cause. So when they know you're capable of that and being honorable, they will not only respect you as a man's man, they will love you. That's what it takes.
Thank you, Sammy. Slim Pickens, after what John did, do you regret killing Paul?
No. Paul made a lot of mistakes. It was a decision that Frankie the Chico wanted to do. I didn't agree with John being the boss, but I went along with Frankie's thinking. I don't talk about it much, but Paul did something with me and a family member. I loved him, but not after he did what he did. I did a video about it. I promised I wouldn't talk about it, but it was something with, I don't really want to get into it, but, I thought it was time to make that move, and it wound up being a mistake. And I really believe, of course, I was asked a bunch of times, what would Frankie do if he didn't die? And I really believe with all my heart and soul, Frankie and I would have killed John for acting like he acted and conducting himself. He would have became the boss. I would have been his underboss. We had already made that agreement. We shook on it. But unfortunately, he died in 4 months after we killed Paul, and John just was John.
Larry Lapper, what powerful guys did Frank DeChico have under him?
Oh, Frankie was, again, a guy who was loved. First of all, his entire family was in the mafia, just about. Him, his Uncle Georgie, his father, his Uncle Butterass. I mean, over and over again. Some of his cousins were in the mafia. Frankie Fab, people, I mean, there was who was with me, who was related to him. There was a lot of guys, not only in his crew, but in his family, and he grew up loved in the neighborhood. So when you had trouble with Frankie, you had trouble when a lot of people were willing to step to the plate with Frankie. That's why when John asked me for help and Frankie for help, you couldn't get a better combination. I remember when we went and sit down with Joe Gallo, who was the consigliere of the Gambino family at that time, not one of the Gallos from New York, downtown. I remember when he looked at John Gotti, Frankie DeChico, and me, talking to him, he must have been shitting in his pants. The real power of the family was looking at him. And he went along with the hit. So did Joe Piney. But Frankie was a powerhouse.
I remember you saying, like, he wasn't a pimple on all the other crew's ass. Like,
here's what I had said. I said it a number of times. I'll say it again. Me and my entire crew, John and his entire crew, weren't a pimple on Frankie's ass. So I'll make it nice and clear.
Mm-hmm. Slatanic in the super chat. Hey Sammy, I love your content. I laughed a lot about your blue-haired woman story. Do you have any more funny stories like that? Love your content, bro, and greetings from the Netherlands.
Now, that's a story that when I went to beautician school, when I got out of the military was paying for you to go to school. If it was military school, they pay for the school. Then you can go on unemployment. I think it was like $2 and change a week you were getting. So I came out of the military. I was broke, so they had a connection. They said, Sammy, you just sign up. You don't have to do nothing. They'll pay for it, and you'll make $2 and change, and you just go to school, and you can come and go as you please. We know the guy. And there's 600 women in the school. There's 2 or 3 straight guys and 4 gay guys. What? Say that number again? When I heard that number and I was going to get some free nut money, I went to school. I was going out with a girl, and I wanted to keep everything quiet. Her name was Louise, and me and her were in this real great relationship. She quit school and came to school in the school. I had to run around the whole school and say, listen, my girl just joined up. Stay away from me. So I was playing around a little bit. You know, when you're a man, there's a lot of courses that you don't take. So when they're working on your face, cosmetics and shit like that, a guy don't take that. I just took cutting hair and dyeing it. So every time they did cosmetic class, I was like a dummy. I would lay on somebody's lap, and she would practice and do things. And I remember there was this woman, a Norwegian woman, blonde, big woman, and she wanted me as a model. And she sat down. I laid down with my head on her lap, and she pushed it down a little bit. My legs, my head, the back of my head was between her legs, and I couldn't concentrate no more. She was rubbing my face. I don't know. I don't even want to get into this.
We'll move on.
Yeah, move on.
Olga.
Olga.
Fun for Reason. Thank you, Fun for Reason. Great envelope for Sammy. Just wanted to let you know that on every Monday I enjoy your live. Since it starts at 11 p.m. in Estonia, I enjoy it with a Jack Daniels and a nice cigarro. Cigarello?
Cigarello. It's like a cigar. It's a little smaller and thinner, but it's great. I know what it is. And Jack Daniels, I know what that is. So enjoy it. I'm glad you enjoy it. Listen, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to you guys. I love hearing from you guys. You know, I do videos. Sometimes I just sit there and do a video. They're personal to me, so sometimes they're tough for me to even do. But it's a pleasure being able to talk to people, hearing names and stuff, and I love it. I'm glad you love it too.
Xavier James. Why did nobody else get charged for the Paul murder but you and Gotti?
That's a great question. First of all, I don't think anybody really knew who was involved. Some of the guys were dead, I think, after a while. John got indicted for Paul. He got caught on tape talking about it, I think. I'm not sure. I wasn't indicted on the Paul case either. I don't think. I copped to it. When I cooperated, I copped out to it. But I don't think I was indicted on my original case. I was indicted on Louis Melito, Louis DeBono, a few cases, but I don't think I was indicted on the Paul case. So, they, you know, the only ones who were indicted on the Gotti case with Paul was Gotti, Frankie LaCasio. The two of them got caught talking on tape. I wasn't on tape. They were talking about me, but and I got indicted on it. You're right, but I didn't go to trial. I copped out and admitted to it. So, and why the other guys? I don't know. I had a 2-year deal when I cooperated. So I cooperated on the cases that they wanted for 2 years. After that, my deal was I don't have to cooperate. I could do what I want. And I never cooperated again. So I never cooperated against the guys who were on the Castellano hit. I never cooperated against my family, personal friends, my crew. I told them I can't. I ordered them to go and hit with me. Not that they weren't willing, but I just couldn't do it. And my deal was they couldn't put that in writing, so they said anything we indict in 2 years, you have to testify. After the 2 years, it's your call. So after the 2, they didn't indict anybody that they knew I would choke with. I couldn't do it. And after the 2 years, when they asked, I never cooperated again.
Thank you, Sammy. I'm going to ask some Patreon questions. One is from Melissa. She is asking, Sammy, do you have any stories on the Chicago outfit guys?
I mean, really not personal. I didn't know too many of them personally. I got to know them after I cooperated. I knew I bumped into a few guys. I heard a lot of stories, so it's what you heard on TV or heard in general. I heard those same stories, but I can't say personally I knew this guy. I know exactly what this guy did. And they were a little different. They didn't even call themselves the Mafia. They called themselves the Outfit, which was a good move in a way. It was, you know, they don't get caught on tape saying Mafia. They called it the Outfit. But they were pretty secretive. Al Capone, when he was out there, Al Capone was in New York. I know that for a fact. They threw him out of New York. He was a bouncer, tough guy. Oh, that scar on his face, that he got that in a fight. You know, people are afraid. Oh, the scar. I'm not afraid of a scar. I'm afraid of the guy who gave him that fucking cigar. That scar. So, and then he became a big deal in Chicago because the Italians and the Irish were fighting in wars, especially in Chicago. And he went against the Irish in a vicious way. Bombs, everything. And he got close with them, and I guess they created a family, and he got made out there, because I don't even think he was a made guy in New York. And I think the Sicilian Mafia made him. And then he became a boss. He was a tough guy. And another thing I knew about him, that he was very, very smart. Tremendous money maker. Bootlegger, unions. He taught a lot of the Mafia what they questioned. What the fuck is he doing out there to make all this money? And he was doing stuff with unions and all kinds of things. So they learned a lot from him. And he became liked and respected, but he wasn't liked that much in New York and respected all that much. They chased him. They were going to kill him.
Nice. Thank you, Sammy. Another question in from Patreon from John Huevel. Hi, Sammy. Would John Gotti have survived as the boss had Frankie DeChico had lived? I think you touched on this a little earlier.
Yeah, I just touched on it. No way. No way in the world. I mean, Frankie was a straight-laced guy. He loved you, but he would never have tolerated John's behavior. And when we shook hands, that was the deal. If John doesn't conduct himself the right way, if he acts the fool like he does, we'll kill him. I'll become the boss, and you'll be my under. That's what he told me. I shook his hand and went along with it. But Frankie died.
Sammy, can we give a shout out to Dawn? She's in your chat right now, and it's her 40th birthday.
Donna?
Dawn.
Dawn? Mm-hmm. Happy birthday, Don. It's your 40th birthday. That's pretty good. I wish it was my 40th fucking birthday. But that's a good time. You got a whole life ahead of you. And good luck, pal. And happy birthday.
Thank you, Sammy. Elgato again. Hey, any superstitious traditions from Cosa Nostra?
Superstitious traditions. Yeah, one of them is that Bagato. What's his name? Bagato?
Elgato.
Elgato. You're bullying people. You're on twice, 3 times. You're pushing people out of the way. All right. So a tradition. Yes. He who farts in church sits on own pew. How about that?
Is there any? I know there's a lot of in the Latino culture that my nana would always say don't talk on the phone during a thunderstorm, like the superstitious. Do you believe in ghosts kind of thing? What happens to your spirit when you? What did the Italians believe, or what did the Cosa Nostra Mafia believe in?
I could tell you, I don't know about all of that, but I could tell you what I think from what I learned in life is that we're energy. Our whole body is made up of energy. Now, while I was in prison, I was with Wiccans. I went with them for a little while. I was with the Indians for a little while. I went with the Wiccans a little while. And they feel that when you die, the energy floats and goes away. It doesn't go away. It floats around. It goes to trees, plants, animals, other people. Not that they become you. The energy moves and goes to things. It doesn't really go away. And science tells us that we need energy in our body. And this comes from this that we have in us. So the Wicca people believe when you die, all of that goes out into the world, into the planet, into, like I said, plants, animals, people. So
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Slaytanic again in the super chat. Hey, hey Sammy, me again. Why did Richard Kuklinski get away with lying until recent years? Was it because you and Michael weren't able to be interviewed?
Me and Michael?
Mm-hmm.
Frenchies, is he talking about?
I think so. Why did Richard Kuklinski get away with lying until recent years?
I'm going to tell you why. He got away with lying. He gave tremendous bullshit stories, and everybody believed it. When he bullshitted about me, and I got indicted on a cold case, killing a cop with him, his testimony got me indicted. I exposed it. They knew he was lying. I fought the case. I didn't take a plea. I fought the case, and it all came out. The agents and the government finally came forward telling me, not so much me, but telling New Jersey, we know the story. It wasn't Sammy. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole story because I'm doing a video on that, a special video about the Iceman and this whole thing. There's all kinds of stories in it. I had lawyers who became terrorists. I was in prison for a while. Tremendous fucking story. And I'm working on writing it right now. As soon as I'm done writing it and putting it together, I'll be videoing it. It'll come out on Table in the Back soon.
NR, in your live chat, Sammy, if you went back in time to 1985 and Angelo approached you about Paul again, what would you do differently? Paul or John Gotti? Who was the better boss?
Well, they both had their down, things, problems, whatever. And it's a tough question. That's why I'm hesitating, because it really is a tough question. But I think, because everybody thinks, what would I do back then? I think I would have told Angelo second time around, go and fuck yourself. Take a walk. Neil did that, and I respect Neil for that. He refused to give us permission to kill Paul. Matter of fact, when he met with John and Angelo, and they told him that about the plot and we wanted to kill him, he said, why? You guys did the wrong fucking thing. You guys dealt drugs when you weren't supposed to. You guys did everything wrong. And now you want to kill him? The boss? The fucking answer is no. Now, we all respected him for that. Normally you would kill him too. We definitely weren't going to kill him. He was a great guy, a man's man, and he was right. So that's why it took months and months and months of planning. We didn't kill Paul till a week or two after Neil died. That unleashed us. But if I had to do it over, I think I probably would have told Angelo, no. I wish I would have did that, like Neil. No. The boss is the boss is the boss. You don't kill the boss. If you're afraid, run. That's what Neil told them. If you want me to sit down for you, I'll sit down for you. Angelo got caught with tapes, with drugs. Every boss, they used this tape, the commission tapes, him and John, and they did everything wrong. And that's what Neil told them. I believe there's a tape of that. I'm almost positive there's a tape of that. And there's stories of it, but there's a tape of it when he said no. I was still with them, and when Frankie came back, I said, how's he feel? He's sick with the cancer, but no, he said no. He told John and Angelo no. He wasn't going to go along with it. And I said, what are we going to do? He says, nothing. That's what we're going to do. We're not killing him, that's for sure. So, and I wish I would have thought or did the same fucking thing. But I had other reasons with Paul, which, again, I'm not going to go into family issues. But Neil was right. And if I had to do it over again after all this time thinking and your great question, I think I would have told Angelo no. No. And I'm telling you this, if I said no and Frankie said no, they would have went on the lam. They would have never fought him because they would have had to fight the real power of the family. Not only me and Frankie, but the rest of the family and everybody else. Our power slowed everybody the fuck down. This was bigger than they thought. So, no, I would have told Angelo no.
Thank you, Sammy. Eli Sanchez, Sammy, what year did Tato die? Also, the guys that bounced you around when meeting Johnny Keys, did you ever see those guys again?
No, I never saw the guys who bounced me around. with Johnny Keys, but I know one or two of them cooperated years later. The government told me that everything I told them was fucking word for word with these two guys who cooperated. Told them the same exact thing. And as far as Tito, I believe Tito died in 1998, 7 years after I cooperated. And the stuff that I found out about Tito, I just told you I'm going to do a whole thing with him. I found out another thing. 7 years he lived, he made me, and I cooperated. He never said a fucking bad thing about me, and said one thing: betrayal begets betrayal. So what he was saying is John Gotti betrayed him, and then John Gotti got betrayed. Some people got hurt by it, but most people didn't. Sammy could have buried so many fucking people, including Tito's son, and I never did that either. He was part of my crew. He was part of the people I would have never cooperated against. So I just found that out. And that's why I always wondered how he felt. And I just found out now, not too long ago. And that's going to be in this special show I'm doing about him.
APB.19. Sammy, did you know Raymond Patriarca from Providence?
I knew of him. I didn't know him personally. If you're talking about the old man Raymond Patriarca, he was beloved by his family, good guy. Everybody loved him. If you're talking about after he died and his son took over, our family actually saved him. It's a whole long story. I won't get into it now, but they were going to kill him and take over, and we went and talked. We saved him, and he had to step down.
Larry Lapper. Sammy, did Frankie DeChico and Jerry Papa have any encounters?
They did have a meeting or two. Jerry Papa told Frankie DeChico one time he was trying to make friends with him. They weren't friends. They weren't enemies, but they weren't friends. And Jerry Papa says, listen, if you ever have a problem with a main guy, a friend of ours, we could kill him off the record. Frankie came back to me and said, this guy is sick to tell me something like that. Sammy, you grew up with him. What kind of guy is he? He's a sicko, bro. He's a fucking sicko. And that's just typical of him. And he was killed for his actions. There's another whole story about that, which I'm working on as well. So while I was asking some of these questions from you guys, especially on the Monday chats, it wakes me up to different stories and different things, just like you're doing now. It's, and I've been making some new videos. I thought I ran out of them, but I obviously didn't. Every time somebody talks to me about something, so I'm there again.
Nice. Devin Walker. Much respect from Bayside Queen Sammy. Did you know the Lucchese guy named Michael Papadio?
I heard of him. I didn't know him personally, but I did hear of him. I heard a little bit of a tough guy too, but I didn't know him personally.
Okay, Sammy, we have a few minutes left. Luis Ramirez. Sammy, did you have the Mexican Mafia for protection in the federal max prison?
I never had nobody for protection, but what I had is I had relationships with the ABs. I did have a relationship with Our Familia, which is above the Mexican Mafia. They're the real Mexican Mafia, Our Familia. Everybody knows about them. And I told the leader of the Our Familia that there was a contract on him. When he was going to go in the yard, he was going to get hit, meaning get killed. And I talked with Cornfed about it. He said, listen, his friend was the head of Our Familia, the guy who was going to get hit. He said, Sammy, tell him. I went down in the yard. His window faced the yard. I banged on it, talked to him, and told him about the hit. And he told me, thank you so much, Sammy. I already know. I was told. I said, well, Cornfed sending you a message as well. He said, I love corn-fed, and I got along with him. That's not having them paying people to protect me. I protected myself. I tatted up because I thought going into prison with being a cooperator that I would be killed. I tatted up my chest, my back, my arms because I was going to go in as a killer. The first person who would have fucked with me, I was ready to kill. That was my protection, my mental state. But I never asked anybody for protection. John Gotti paid protection to the ABs for protection because he had a fight with a black guy and whatever. And he asked them, he didn't ask them for protection, but he asked them to kill the black guy, and then he wound up paying protection. I never paid anybody for protection. I protect myself. And if I lose, I die. But I'm not paying nobody. Joe Watts did that. He pays guys for protection. Big tough guy. You're a bitch. If you have to pay people for protection, you might as well bend down and let them fuck you in your ass. No, I never paid anybody, but I got along with people. Mexican mafia, ABs, I got along with people because I walked around without an attitude. The way I talk to you guys right now on this program, I talk to them in prison that way. And now you're going to either love me or hate me, and if you're going to hate me, I'm ready to go, even at my age now. How old am I? 99? Well, I forgot how old I am.
You're a cool 17 in my book, Sam.
Oh yeah, I think I'm like Biden. I mean, I heard Biden give a fucking speech the other day. My God, this fucking guy is like. I think I'm gonna run for president because if he can run for president and talk like he talks, it's fucking crazy. So
him and the Dalai Lama.
Did you see the Dalai Lama? You know, I'm going to work on this bullpen, the news stories, and I've been talking with Anna, and I'm talking with a guy who's going to come and meet with me in the next couple of days. I think the three of us, I'm going to open up a news station. I'm going crazy. The Dalai Lama is sitting down like a fucking whale, like me, sitting down like this, right? And a little boy comes over and he tells the boy, a little boy, stick your tongue out. And he sucks the boy's tongue. And then he sticks his tongue out like this. And he's telling the boy to suck his tongue. And people are applauding. What the fuck is this? A Dalai Lama would be equivalent to like the Pope or an imam of mega proportions. I mean, what the fuck is this country coming to? In front of mobs of people on film, you're asking a little boy to suck your tongue? False idols. Huh? False idols. Yeah, false idol. I mean, false everything. I mean, I'm seeing things that I never thought I'd see. Now, I'm not against gay people. I'm not against people. You could suck somebody's dick. You're going to suck a kid's tongue? I mean, this is weird. This is beyond comprehension. So I'm not talking about gay stuff. I'm talking about this is weird. And then you tell the kid? If I was the kid's father or mother, I would have cracked him right in the face. I would have been in jail, hitting the Dalai Lama. I don't know how many years I would have got, but I would have never allowed that to fuck him, suck his tongue. Unbelievable. And for you guys out there, could I do that?
Speaking about that, Betty Ann Tavano, hey girl, envelope for you this week, Sam. I'll see you soon, Sammy. Heart, 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 heart. Scratch the coffee and the drink, and let's just make out. Betty.
Betty Ann, I have your number, and when you said you were coming down to Scottsdale. Now, comments like that, I'm liable to fucking get on a plane, even though I'm breaking parole and flying down to see you right away. I can't wait. When are you coming down to Scottsdale? And send me a picture. I have never seen a picture of you.
Mad Cool again with his weekly envelope. Thank you, Mad Cool.
Thank you, Mad Cool. Mad Cool?
Mm-hmm, mad, like I'm angry.
Oh, Mad Cool, Mad Cool. I got it.
Mad Cool.
My Mad Cool, bro. I got it.
Here's a good one, Sam, from Ask Old Dad. How did you enjoy the Megyn Kelly interview?
I loved it. I loved it. I have a tremendous amount of respect for her. She's beautiful. She's tough. She's honest. I love her. And I loved the interview. She was very sincere. I told her somebody in The Sopranos was in the mob. She didn't buy it right away because she never heard it. And then she had people checking, and we kept talking. And then she came on and said, I just verified. Sammy just told the truth. I never knew it. She's great. She really is. And I watch her as much as whenever I see her, I watch her. She don't hold back. She tells it like it is, and she defends people or attacks people. Either way, she's for real. I really would do like her. Aside the fact that I like her, that she's beautiful, but that's a whole nother story.
Nice. So we'll end with this question, Sammy. Mary Ellen Schultz in the chat. Sammy, what do you think about our country now with all the drugs coming in?
I saw a video that was sent to me today. It's in California, in where is that? All the way up in
Is that in like Sacramento or San Francisco?
San Francisco. A young woman is a crackhead, is laying on the floor giving birth, and while she's giving birth, the baby's face is on the concrete, and there's people staring, trying to help her a little bit. Now, the people, when the camera goes up, you see the people, they look like zombies, and obviously somebody called the police and they're waiting for to happen. I've never seen anything like that. It was heartbreaking to see that. And the governor of California, Newsom, they were going to throw him out, a different election, whatever, a recall election. And he overwhelmingly is reelected. What the fuck is wrong with the people in California? Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you don't see what's going on? How do you vote this guy in? Are you all on drugs? I was to San Francisco a long time ago, a couple of times. It was breathtaking. It was one of the most beautiful places I went to. Mountains, roads going down, trolley cars going up and down. It was gorgeous, right on the ocean. It was gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous, beautiful restaurants, little Chinatown it was. I walked through it. It was gorgeous. He wants to declare it as a national emergency. He's asking for federal funds because it's an emergency. There's no hurricane. There's no tornado. You fucked up the state to beyond belief. Now, I have friends in California, quite a few. I have Emily, who's my advisor out there, and I talked to her. She's heartbroken about some of these things, too. She can't even believe it. She's lived out there a lot of years. Now he wants to run for president of the United States. How the fuck could we even consider somebody like him to take a beautiful state like California and literally destroy it? I went and see a couple of friends of mine, Fighter and the Kid, and I did a video with them. They took me around. It was near Manhattan Beach. They took me to Manhattan Beach. Gorgeous. Fucking gorgeous. The homes, there's homes, $2 million, $3 million homes, sidewalk, street, sidewalk, and then the beach. Beautiful. The only thing is, he says, don't take off your shoes walking on the sand. And I said, why? He said, because there's needles and shit all over the fucking place. And it's a little bit under the sand, you can't see it. You get poked with a fucking needle, God knows where it was. And then I looked at the side that just after the sidewalk and started the beach, there was a row of fucking with tents for a mile long, over a mile, with people staggering around. How the fuck do they allow this? How are we allowing this? Now they're talking about getting rid of the money. I'm going to take all this on my news show. I'm going to talk about things and getting rid of it. Our dollar used to be the gold standard for the world. Now China and Russia, they're making their own money, and we're not the gold standard no more. And if it happens, they said that 70% of the fucking economy is going to go bust. Nobody's going to invest money here. We have trouble in every fucking country on the planet right now. Almost every country. They're even talking about fucking wars, nuclear wars. Is this fucking for real? But we better get ready for an election that they can't rig. And I don't give a fuck who runs against them. They better stop it, or we're dead. We're in big, big trouble. You know, and these liberal elites, whatever party they're in, mostly Democrats, but some Republicans, don't care about us, bro. They don't care about our kids. They don't care about anything. There's a couple of guys who just told me, thank you, Sammy, for helping me stay clean and this and that and the other thing. These kids here, I give them tremendous courage. We can't close the border. It's pouring in through our border. I know it. You know it. They know it. Why won't they close it? Those guys there who were thanking me is a disgrace to the country. Where's all the moms and dads, the grandpas and grandmas and people who are against these people? Another thing I heard, they're doing the same shit in France. You know the difference? France's people are out in the street. 9 fucking million of them. Go look it up. 9 million. We don't have 9,000 people. Oh, Chicago yesterday, 1,500 people running around, breaking cars, windows, looting stores. This is becoming like a third world country. A woman giving birth and with the baby's face on the concrete, dirty street. When me and Anna and this guy get together, I'm gonna do a news show, and I've been in this country long enough. I was in the service. I was a bad boy, but that doesn't make me a fucking animal. It's not I don't hate people. I love people. I did some bad shit, and I was in the mafia. But this is beyond words. This is making the mafia look like Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, what they're doing. Do you think they care about you or your kids or anybody in your family? Old people? No. They don't care. Now they don't even stop them at the border. I had a Border Patrol guy who thanked me for some of my videos, and I spoke with him. And he said, Sammy, we're not even allowed to stop them no more. They don't have to smuggle drugs across the border. They could put it in a knapsack and just walk across the border. We're not allowed to stop them, search them, do anything. So they're just coming back with a knapsack and walking across the border with these drugs. Now he knows that, and I said, your superiors know that, right? Yeah. But the government's got to know. If you guys know and you told your bosses, and the government's got to know, they do. So then this isn't stupidity. This isn't a mistake. This is literally, in my opinion, done on purpose. He said, if you go down and meet with Border Patrol people all over the place, Sammy, there's a lot of people of those people watching you. They would love you coming down there. They'll tell you. There's nothing they can do. Well, it's tempting to go down. I'm on parole. I don't know if that's a violation for me. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I am so tempted. I would love to know if the violation is a month or 2 months in prison. I may go down and take that. Fuck the month and 2 months. But I'm going to do this bullpen, and I'm going to be talking and telling like it is. My daughter texted me today. She's in New York with my granddaughter. Her words, that I can't believe this is the United States of America. It feels like a third world country. The subways, the airports now in New York, I never see anything like it. And my daughter's you know her, she's a tough cookie. She's not afraid of it. She's just shocked. So, wait for this bullpen to open up. You know, we're gonna really. I'm gonna tell it like it is. I'm gonna tell them what's going on. And you know one thing, I don't bullshit. I don't give a fuck who does what or who says what. I'm gonna tell what I see. I'm gonna get evidence to back it up. Otherwise, they'll call me a conspiracy theorist. And I'm gonna get evidence before I talk, and I'm gonna talk and show you evidence. Are there other people and committees that are going on that are just insane? So, all right, guys. I guess
we got one more super chat from Betty Ann Tavano.
Oh, my baby. What baby? What?
Wait, I can explain. Where do I send the photo, bae? Heart, heart, heart. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Anna will tell you where to send the photo. The photo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Anna will tell you where to send it. She was going to text you. And if she don't do it, let me know. I'm going to fire her because I want that photo. No, I'm never going to fire Anna, but yeah. Anna will tell you where to send it, and tell me when you're going to come. We could sit down and have a cup of coffee. But you just said, forget the coffee. Just all right. We'll see what we can do. You got me bumbling there for words. I sound like Joe Biden. All right, people. I love all of you, especially you, Betty. I love you too. And so wait until next Monday, and we'll be back with. I'll be back on with smoking my cigars and drinking coffee and just chilling with my family here in a family chat. What?
Press the like button for us.
Oh yes, they're telling me press the like, to subscribe, please. It helps. It's a big deal, and it's really helping me. And I just went up from 548,000 subscribers to 550,000 subscribers, and thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm using that muscle. When I go talk to the people who want to do something with me, I'm giving them that muscle, bro. I want to do this, and I want to pick this actor, and I want to do that, and well, who are you? Who am I? I'm Sammy the Bull, and I got 550,000 subscribers watching me and following me. So that's the way it helps. It really does help. I mean, they don't give a shit about a little bit, but they do care. All right, guys, I'm going to run again my famous sign-off. Adios, my loves. Not the other word now. Not today. Bye-bye.